Thank you for joining us for this 5-part short video series about U-Select, a community-curated exhibition. I'm Bailey Platchek, the museum's associate curator and facilitator of U-Select. We designed this exhibition to highlight the power of community, because after all, this collection is owned by the City of Denver. Last year, we asked art lovers like you from the Denver area and beyond to select the artworks that you wanted to see on our gallery walls and contribute perspectives for our gallery text. After an 8-week voting period, we tallied up the votes and arranged the winning works in 5 galleries, each representing a place or group of people particularly influential on Clyfford Still's life and career. It has been enlightening to think about how the connections important in Still's life in the 20th century impact and expand our own contemporary networks here at the Clyfford Still Museum. Each of the short videos in this series explores one of the 5 galleries in U-Select and features members of the museum's extended community reflecting upon their own communal relationships as they relate to Still's life and work. As you listen, and hopefully visit us to see the exhibition in person, I invite you to consider the impact of your own relationships to the past and in your present world, and how they might extend into the times ahead. Our first gallery explores Clyfford Still's time teaching at San Francisco's California School of Fine Arts following World War II. While Still's impact on the West Coast art scene is well documented, there were also many people and aspects of this revolutionary academic culture that helped propel Still's career. Listen as Joyce Tsai, Clyfford Still Museum director and former university professor, discusses Still's connection to the university world.
So Still actually belonged to a generation of artists who were actually trained in a university setting. That's very different than being trained in an art school. These students have this deep grounding in the liberal arts. And so a lot of the questions that Still is interested in pursuing with the kind of painting he does, and also his desire to do something with his paintings that goes beyond, creating pretty pictures, but also creating work that has a moral and ethical impulse. I think all of that comes out of his training as a young man in the liberal arts and in the fine arts in the context of Washington State College, now university. So we don't usually think of Clyfford Still as a teacher, but teaching actually has been incredibly important throughout his entire career. Still actually was hired to join the faculty of the California School of Fine Arts to really kind of modernize the curriculum. And he actually headed up the paintings department in 1946. This is a school that actually brought on a lot of the people who would really become key figures in abstract expressionism. His friend Mark Rothko actually taught there as well, along with Ed Reinhardt, another member of faculty that was incredibly influential in West Coast abstraction is Diebenkorn. And again, you can absolutely see in this kind of incredibly short period of time in the late 1940s how quickly each of these artists move in their work from one way of making to another. It's an incredibly condensed moment where these artists are looking at one another, also engaging with students, and it really creates an environment where I really see these artists accelerating one another's practice. So before I joined the Clyfford Still Museum, I'd been a professor at the University of Florida and also University of Iowa for a long time, and I taught art history, but also one of the things that I really enjoyed was working with MFA students. One of the things I find really striking about Still's letters and also in his notes is that he really doesn't see teaching as a one-way street, but instead really demands that students engage in a conversation with him, not an argument, he says, and engage in a conversation that allows each student to pursue their own questions, their own pressing problems, to guide the evolution of their own work. Still was never interested in creating copies of himself in his teaching, and so was really insistent on making sure that these students were working on pushing their own practice ahead. But from my own experience, one of the things that I find really striking, if not shocking, is how often the conversations that I have in the seminar room profoundly impact the way I approach some of the questions I'm exploring in my own research. And I think the thing that I find really quite fascinating about Still and how quickly he develops in certain moments, we can actually see how his time in the classroom, even if he might not want to admit it, actually helped accelerate some of the thinking that he was doing in some of his major transitions.